Hello and welcome everyone. Good evening, first of all. A warm welcome to all the investors and partners and attendees joining us today. And thank you for taking out the time to be part of this session. My name is Shubham, and I'm the wealth manager over here at AltPort. We work closely with both investor and distributor partners to help them to explore quality alternative investment and PMS opportunities with the right market insights and strategies. So, in today's dynamic and certain market environment, portfolio position has become more important than ever, and that's exactly what today's session is focused on: how to position your portfolio for certain markets. So, we are privileged to have with us Mr. Vikas Agrawal, founder and CEO of AltPort Experts, who brings deep experience and practical insights from alternative investment space. So he has 2 decades of experience in this wealth creation. Without taking much time, I would now like to invite Mr. Vikas Agarwal, to take the session forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shubham. Just check if somebody is requesting for recording. So, can you record the session?
So it already started, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time out from your busy schedule joining in today. So, what we'll do is we'll try and decode what's happening across the globe, what's happening in India more particularly, and we'll also be discussing about the various aspect of Indian equity markets. May 2026. So we'll talk about everybody knows the current conflict between US, Israel, and Iran. Even today, there is no clarity in terms of ceasefire or in terms of any deal going through. Some numbers here quickly. So this is the vessel movement through strait, which have come to almost a total halt. In fact, there was a movement till about 16th of April. And then post that, you see this has become almost zero. Earlier they were allowing Indian vessels and Chinese to pass through. But ever since US has kind of come out more openly and not doing a deal. I mean, both the parties are not able to do the deal. The number of vessels movement have come down to almost zero now. US-Iran Israel war has led to global oil inventory declining. You see the inventory the entire world used to hold, day by day it is going down. So there was a time when people had some countries had as much as 90 days, 120 days, 180 days of inventory, but that number is going down. Refining capacity could be bottleneck for medium term even if conflict resolves. So assuming that if the conflict is getting resolved now, but availability of the product is bigger challenge now than the availability of crude because things are slowing down. And then persistent high oil prices almost led to recession. आपको देख ही रहे हैं कि ये जो वॉर है इसका इतना इतना ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट है कि ये कोविड की जो सिचुएशन है उससे भी ज़्यादा अफेक्ट किया है. मतलब दिस इज बाय फार द बिगेस्ट क्राइसिस, ऑयल क्राइसिस, विच इंटायर वर्ल्ड इज फेसिंग. सो मतलब ये देखा जा रहा है कि रिसेशन में आने के, बहुत सारी कंट्रीज के रिसेशन में आने के चांस ज़्यादा है अगर ये वॉर कंटिन्यू होता है. सो यूएई ने ओपेक का, आपने रिसेंटली सुना होगा कि यूएई हैज डिसाइडेड टू come out of OPEC. So OPEC is basically an association which is the biggest oil producer, and UAE has decided to exit that. Crude future looks like that European crude blend future, which was trading at 105, 106, is likely. I mean, this is what we believe, that eventually the crude will have a revision to mean and should settle down at about 88. But let's see, everything depends on war. This is the chart of entire globe. Like the way the entire globe is facing challenges, and as a result of that, the growth is coming down and inflation is inching up. जैसा कि आप देखते हैं कि यूएस में 2026 में जो ग्रोथ एक्सपेक्टेड है, जो अभी वो 2.3 है, और जो एक्सपेक्टेड था वो 2.8 का था। तो इसका मतलब ग्रोथ कंप्रोमाइज हो रही है और इन्फ्लेशन जो है वहाँ के वो बढ़ रहे हैं। कैन यू सी माई स्क्रीन, शुभम?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Same way you look at emerging markets ex China, emerging market Asia, China, everywhere you see everybody is getting affected. Latin America is okay to some extent, but otherwise you see emerging markets, you see developed economies had their target of about 1.9%, which has come down to 1.4%. So growth is going down, whereas inflation numbers are going up. This is how few markets, the major markets, I have kind of done some study there. Like you see Europe, economic growth, although is little bit up, but the overall inflation is likely to go up. Valuations are going down, earnings are going down because of that. Again, China economic growth is okay. Japan economic growth is okay. Brazil economic growth is okay. But you see the overall effect, it has not affected so much, but it is likely to be affected if the war continues. Central bank balance sheets have been contracting. Central bank has no reason to reduce interest rate anymore now. In fact, because of the inflation, as of now, they have not intervened, but their balance sheets have been contracting. Global equities are on track. 2026 was, in fact, the year when the world witnessed more than $1 trillion of net inflow. Um, so, other than Indian markets, you see other markets are doing well. I'll tell you in the next slides. Question is, will Taiwan become the next geopolitical risk? The answer is nobody knows. In fact, the recent uh, trip of Donald Trump in the US, China has clearly stated that we'll have to deal with this matter separately, and we are very serious about it. So, post this, will Taiwan become the next? I don't know. US oil production near record high levels. So US is producing oil almost 14,000 uh, barrel on a daily basis. Tariff has increased because of Donald Trump, the way they were deciding the tariff tantrum. Because of that, the inflation there has increased, and it has actually reduced the number of jobs. The other thing is big tech capex has reached unprecedented level, in the sense that these companies are taking a capex to the tune of $700 billion. So they are investing in the businesses, and the top companies, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Microsoft, all put together is more than $700 billion. And where the money is going to AI. Whether it is sustainable or not, only future will tell. But at this point of time, the free cash flow and the additional capex is all going towards artificial intelligence, more particularly in the US. यूएस डेफिसिट कंटिन्यू टू बी रिमेन हाई। आपको पता है कि यूएस में डेट जो है वो सबसे ज़्यादा है और वो बढ़े जा रहा है। अभी नाउ द करेंट डेट लेवल इज ऑलमोस्ट $39 trillion, which is by far the highest in the world. And in terms of percentage also, debt to GDP is much higher. Uh, Non-US invest, in fact, they have increased their debt by almost $2 trillion in the last 15 months, to be very precise. So this is how the debt is increasing, and maybe time will tell whether they would be in a position to repay that debt or not. Non-US, the other thing is, we've seen that as far as US markets are concerned, the non-US investors ownership is increasing there. It has gone to almost 65% now. So 65% of the overall asset is owned by non-US residents and non-US investors. I've just told you that they've got about more than more than $0.5 trillion of investment in 2026 alone. So this war may lead to higher inflation. The other thing is you look at the dollar index, it has come down to 98. It was ranging at about 111. So you see from 111 last year to 98 now. So if that generally we've seen that if the dollar index comes down, then FIIs come out and invest in some of the emerging markets. And we've seen that in India was always been one of the beneficiaries, as in when the dollar index used to come down, we used to get allocation from FIIs. So question is, will history repeat due to weak dollar? The only time will tell, because this time, although the dollar is weakened, but rupee is also weakened to large extent vis-a-vis dollar. So let's see what will happen this time. Uh, Indian economy, are we oasis in the desert? That needs to be examined in the light of cool period. This is the chart which suggests that there was a time in 1960 when India's GDP per capita was about 20%, almost 18.7%. And after 65 years, now we are again back to 20% in terms of per capita income vis-a-vis globe. So that point of time, per capita was $95, and the average per capita across the globe was $454. Today, the average per capita across the globe is about $15,000, and we are at about $3,000. So that's about 20%. And this has happened post 1991 economic liberalization took place by Dr. Manmohan Singh. And once he opened up the economy, now that it has come back to that level. India's oil demand is increasing, no denying on the fact that we are the uh, highest growth economy in the world, in the sense that our growth rate continues to be more than 6%. And if this 6% is highest in the world, then obviously the demand for oil would also go up. It is well understood. And this is the divergence in the sense that India's oil trade deficit and oil prices due to higher import and consumption. And that is what government of India is worried about, because we don't have uh, our own resources, natural resources. The other thing is, because of these subsidiaries run by government of India, um, सबके घर cylinder ho, that's a kind of a dream honorable prime minister had. And because of that, the LPG requirements of LPG surged. It has increased, and our dependency on import is also very high because of that. uh, Oil sensitivity, although has come down, what it used to be in 2005 to 2025, it has come down because government of India has worked a lot on other renewable energy area. A lot of work has been done on the solar power, etc. We are the fourth largest now in terms of solar power. So no denying on the fact that government has done a lot of work there, and therefore sensitivity has gone down. इंडिया इज मोस्ट वनरेबल टू एनर्जी शॉर्टेज अमंग्स द की एशियन मार्केट्स. जितने भी एशियन मार्केट्स में आप देखेंगे, सबसे ज़्यादा इंडिया को इम्पैक्ट आया है इसका, इस वॉर की वजह से. एंड काफ़ी स्लो डाउन हुए हैं, कुछ एक फैक्ट्रीज में काम बंद हो गए हैं, कुछ एक रेस्टोरेंट्स बंद होते हुए दिख रहे हैं अभी बिकॉज ऑफ शॉर्टेज ऑफ एलपीजी. While the government of India is trying its best to manage the situation, but overall, because of the prices going up, it has become slightly unaffordable as well. So, in terms of direct access, we're missing out the targets. As I said, the economy activities have started slowing down. As a result of that, our net collection was uh, slightly lower than what was expected. Government's fiscal consolidation to come under pressure. What government did not want to go away by giving more loans to the next generation, and therefore they had a reasonable target of about 4.4, 4.5, 4.6% of the GDP in terms of fiscal target, but the fiscal deficit. But my sense is that this can widen if the situation continues. But if the situation improves, then I think this target is very much achievable. Current account deficit, we believe that we expect CAT to be average at about 1.5% of the GDP between 2027 to 2031. INR has depreciated, as I said, today's rate is about 95.5 to 96. That's really a big worry in the sense that rupee is coming under pressure because FIIs are selling their stocks from Indian markets. The other thing is we are importing gold also to large extent, and our foreign trips, as Honorable Prime Minister said, that you need to reduce your foreign trips because you don't want money to go out and get converted into dollar, and oil import has to be reduced. When the bad news comes, it comes in bundle. Another bad news is that this year it is expected that monsoon would not be as good as it was last year. So there will be some shortage in terms of rainfalls. And because of the El Nino impact on Indian rural economy, we believe that 92% of the rainfall is expected to be achieved, and we want to see some more concern coming up from there. Employment scenario in India, so uh, नौकरी जरूरी है. Number of graduates who are coming out, they continue to face challenges in terms of government jobs. On the other side, non-IT sector opening is basically compensating because IT companies have also reduced the number of jobs in the last 6 months to 1 year time. Thanks to AI, they're doing a lot of work there, and as a result of that, it's coming down. And therefore, we saw sluggishness in IT sector. Credit growth is picking up, although so we saw that's a good thing that people need more money, deploying more money, and trying to generate additional GDP. So AI can surprise in tech sector. BPO, KPO, if you look at their value, we tried decoding it, which is about 25 to 30 billion, employee 4 million. So there are about 4 million employees who are directly or indirectly working with BPO or KPOs in India. IT is about $200 billion. And there, if you look at again, 6 million employees are there, and 2 million employees are working abroad in the sense that they are on the role of in companies in India, but they are working abroad for the client. So overall, indirect employment is about 6.22 million. So put together, it is about 12 million people. And remittance is about 50 to $75 billion. So IT export is about total $200 billion. That is really come under pressure now. GCC value add is about again 450 to 45 to $60 billion, and we have 2 million employees who are working in this segment and about 5 million who are indirectly working in this segment. So FX revenue of 320 to $370 billion, uh, 40 million, or overall the number of employees are either 40 to 41 million employees who are working in this segment. So if AI will if you see that this wave of AI, if they create a job, if they create more number of AIs, then you're going to see more pressure coming to this sector, particularly in India, because India is at one point of time was a back office for the entire globe, and if you see that a lot of back office work is automated, then that automation may affect the number of jobs, especially in BPOs and KPOs. Uh, India on the road to be third largest by 2031. So we were fourth largest economies, and our ranking has come down to now sixth largest uh, due to rupee depreciation. And what we were expecting to something to happen, I mean, we're likely to become third largest in 27, 28, but because of this war, it has been extended by almost 2 to 3 years now. So IMF is projecting that India will become third largest by 2031. So this is the bad news uh, for all of us. Equity markets, look at the valuation. So median drawdown last 52 weeks has been very challenging. Nifty is down about 50%, 15%. Mid cap is down about 16%. Small cap is down about 24%. Um, Small and mid cap, although have bounced back to some extent, but the large cap continues to underperform. Um, I mean, if you look at this is post war, the situation is like this. Sectorial indices performance during the US is Iran-Israel conflict. Nifty capital markets index has delivered 12%. Defense is about 11%, and energy is about 10%. But otherwise, you see manufacturing is negative, reality is negative, and most of the FMCG, IT, rural, all of them have delivered negative returns in the last 1 year. Our market cap to GDP has been reduced to now 115%. It had gone up to 135%. So historically, you look at the average is about 88%. While there are two school of thoughts, one says that it will come down to 88%, which is a historical average. The other school of thought is that those days we did not had small cap companies or some of the micro cap companies or mid cap companies growing to the tune of 25% year on year. As the profit pools have increased, so obviously the market cap to GDP may go up. But this debate continues. Let's see who's going to win. Nifty 50 index is trading around long-term average of small and mid cap at premium. So long-term average for market is about 20. Nifty 50 is about 18.6 now. Even when you look at 1 year forward is about 19. So it is lower than the historical average of 20 kapi. Whereas mid cap is at about 23 and small cap is about 27. FIIs have been selling, as I said, they've sold more than calendar year 2026 than the whole 2025. आप अगर देखते हैं इसी साल में लास्ट ईयर, if you remember, they sold assets which is about $18 billion, but this year they are already down by $20 billion. And let's see what is likely to happen. So they've been the seller, whereas domestic DIIs continues to buy. This is the performance of India. So MSCI India has underperformed everybody. It's rather down by 9%, but you look at MSCI USA, it is 1 year is delivered 29%. Despite they are doing war with Iran, they continue to grow. MSCI World is about positive by 27%. Nasdaq is 42%. Germany is about 6.7% positive. Europe is about 19%. Taiwan is 109% because they've done a lot of work on artificial intelligence and semiconductor chip. And MSCI emerging market itself is up by 43% because of Taiwan's growth. MSCI China is about 10% positive. Brazil is 46%. Mexico is 34%. Korea is 109%. So Korea, because they have investment in artificial intelligence, their market cap went up by 191% in 1 year alone. So as a result of that, our ranking has come down. MSCI India's P relative to MSCI emerging market. So India is part of the MSCI emerging market index, and this is at 16 years low. I mean, except for 1 year that you bar, which is 2017. But you see, year on year, it's down by almost 16 years. So it is at 16 years of low. That's the gap that is emerged in India versus MSCI emerging markets. This is the earnings growth, which is expected to be at about 2027. We expect earnings to come in not only double digit, but more than 15%, and also in 18. Uh, while we were expecting this year also that number will go up, but because of this Middle East conflict and rupee depreciation and labor code, this has come down to 10%. India's share in global market is basically eases from peak 2024 September. So 2024 September trend in India contribution to global market cap was as high as 4.6%, and from there it has come down to 3%. Again, there are two school of thoughts here. One says that it is a time to invest now because it has come down to large extent and there will be a mean to revision. Uh, and the other school of thought is that you will see continue declining uh, as we move ahead. India's weight in MSCI Emerging Market Index has declined sharply. We've already discussed and talked about it. DII's monthly flow into equities continue to be robust, while these FIIs and FPIs are selling from India. But our investors have shown a lot of maturity, and as a result of that, they have been continuously investing in Indian equity markets. Our SIP numbers have not come down. It is remain at 33, 32, 31,000 levels, and as a result of that they have been continuously buying. So our overall equity, I can say with lot of pride that it is now owned by Indian investors or Indian companies and no more left out with FPIs and FIIs. So foreigners have their overall holdings in Indian equity markets have come down from 20% to 15% uh, overall holdings. So their exposure is come down by 5%, whereas the domestic investors who had only 4 or 5% exposure at one point of time, as far as Indian equity is concerned, have now dramatically increased to more than 16, 17%. So while FII shares have their overall exposures have come down to the decadal low, whereas Indian investors have shown a lot of confidence in Indian equities, and as a result of that, their ownership has gone up. In fact, promoters are now buying back. We've seen from April onwards, we see that BSC 500 companies, they've started coming out with an offer of buybacks, or they are buying from the open markets, which is a sign that they have more confidence in India and these companies. Markets bottomed out before the end of the war, and we've seen that happening. कारगिल के टाइम में आप देखेंगे BSE सेंसेक्स इंडेक्स लेवल when war started 3378, एंड जब वॉर क्लोज हुआ 26 जुलाई को, 3 मई 1999 को चालू हुआ था कारगिल वॉर, और करते 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 जब उनका बॉटम बना था 3378 का 3 मई को, वो 26 जुलाई को दैट वाज 4625। अगर आप उसके पहले जाते हैं कि इन्वेजन ऑफ इराक, इराक का जब हम इराक का जब ऑयल क्राइसिस हुआ था, उस टाइम पे भी अगर आप हमारा मार्केट देखते हैं तो 20 मार्च 2003 को 3192 का लेवल था BSE का, सेंसेक्स का। एंड 2 मई को बाय द टाइम वो ओवर हुआ, उस बाय द टाइम 22 मई को जब वो वॉर ओवर हुआ, तो सेंसेक्स का लेवल था 2966। सो उस समय पे बहुत ज़्यादा इफेक्ट नहीं आया था। एंड देन रशियन यूक्रेन वॉर जब भी हुआ था 24 फरवरी को, तब मार्केट का लेवल था 54,000. सेंसेक्स वाज एट 54,529. दिस इज स्टिल गोइंग ऑन, एंड यू सी व्हाट इज द सेंसेक्स लेवल टुडे, ऑलमोस्ट 75,000. सो दैट क्लियरली इंडिकेट्स दैट वॉर जब खत्म होने वाला होता है, उस समय मार्केट बॉटम बना लेता है. This is the sectorial split. Some sectors got decently derated. ऑटोमोबाइल अगर आप देखते हैं तो मार्केट कैप इज डाउन बाय 2%. बीएफएसआई इज पॉजिटिव. कैपिटल गुड इज पॉजिटिव. कंज्यूमर इज नेगेटिव बाय 9%. हेल्थ केयर इज पॉजिटिव. लॉजिस्टिक इज पॉजिटिव. ऑयल एंड गैस इज अबाउट माइनस बाय 4%. सो ओवरऑल अगर सीमेंट, मेटल, यूटिलिटी आप देखते हैं तो ये तीनों सेक्टर जो है री-रेट हुए हैं. Be ready for the volatility because oil prices continues to be volatile and on a higher side. The geopolitical risk is going up. Supply chain disruption is happening. Equity issuance is in pipeline. FIIs flow have come down, and earnings visibility is low at this point of time. So obviously there will be some more volatility as we move ahead. But correction is an opportunity. I think it's a time that you should be overweight in large cap, maybe marginally overweight in mid cap and small cap. I think as the market starts bouncing back, you should be reducing your exposure from small cap. Prolonged West Asia tension may pose broad risk to India. अगर डॉलर, एक एज्यूम किया कि अगर डॉलर 100 डॉलर, 100 सॉरी, अगर क्रूड $100 पे रहता है तो जीडीपी ग्रोथ हमारा जो है वो घट के 6 to 6.7% तक आ जाएगा. मतलब 6 to 6.6 आप ला लो. इन्फ्लेशन विल गो अप टू 5.1 to 5.3%. करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट जो 1.5% पे है वो बढ़ के 2.2 और 2.4% ऑफ द जीडीपी हो जाएगा. एंड आईएनआर जो है वो 91 से 93 रुपीज होने का चांस है, जो ऑलरेडी अभी 94 95 में चला गया है अगर ये वॉर कंटिन्यू होता है पोस्ट जुलाई. आरबीआई कंटिन्यूज एक्टिव लिक्विडिटी मैनेजमेंट. वो पूरी कोशिश कर रहे हैं लिक्विडिटी मैनेजमेंट करने की, but it's a free flow blood bath on the street in terms of INR versus dollar. Second consecutive month for debt sales by FPIs. FPIs have been continuously selling. RBI support for rupee 10 to lift bond yields. जैसा मैंने बोला कि 2013 में भी हमने देखा था टेपर ट्रेंटम हो रहा था, एंड करंट सिनारियो में भी वही हाल है. सो पूरी कोशिश है कि 10 ईयर जी सेक का अगर रेट देखते हैं तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज ट्राइंग इज बेस्ट टू इंटरवीन एंड सी दैट हाउ दे कैन मेंटेन द रिजर्व दैट दे हैव, which was about $690 billion. Gold gold returns between 2000 March 2020 to December 20, 18%. January to December 2001 it was negative by 4%. 2022 से 2022 अगेन पॉजिटिव बाई 14%. 2023 में इट वॉज पॉजिटिव बाई 15%. 2024 में इट डिलीवर्ड 27%. And 2025, this was the so far by far the best year for gold. Gold had delivered 63% returns. And from from Jan to now April 2026, it has only delivered 7%. Why it is showing delivered 7% positive? Because your base rate had come down. Silver 2025 it delivered 125% return, but this year it is only 3%. So gold prices have corrected from the peak, as I was telling you already. Buying and selling gold of central banks in 2026, आप देखिए, Poland has done the highest number of transaction, then Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, I mean all that, Malaysia, China, they were all doing good number of transactions on gold, and they were continuously buying. Zero gold discovery in 2 consecutive year. New gold discovery worldwide. जो बोलते हैं ना गोल्ड और उसकी डिस्कवरी की जाती है, उसे खदान से निकाला जाता है, तो उसकी जो डिस्कवरी होती है वो देखिए 1990 में 10 थी, 1991 में 12 थी. ऐसे देवर इंक्रीजिंग इट, एंड धीरे धीरे कर करके अगर आप देखते हैं पोस्ट 2000 एंड 10, 9, 10, 11, 9, 10 onwards, it has come down. It has come down. So 2022 we got one, and उसके बाद में अभी तक के नहीं मिला है. So uh, I mean, if there is no discovery happening, then they're very difficult to get new gold, the supply of gold, and therefore it is a rare metal. It is called rare metal. Silver price 116 से देख रहे हैं आप नीचे गिरता चला गया है. So summary is that do consider following products if you are investing and you want to reduce your volatility. I think SIF is one instrument that we are overconfident that it should start delivering better results. Although it does not have a track record, and therefore we wanted to take our own time to see how it is shaping up. But after doing some amount of due diligence, we become little confident that it should do well. Long short strategies, especially, but leveraging is not allowed here. Leveraging is allowed only in AIF, so no leverage here. Leverage का मतलब ये होता है कि आपने 100 रुपए डाला तो 100 ही रुपए पे ले आपको 100 ही रुपए का बेनिफिट मिलेगा. अगर वही AIF में होता है लॉन्ग शॉर्ट फंड, तो उसमें आपको 150 रुपीज तक का भी एक्सपोजर मिल सकता है. Other thing is you can think about performing credit AIFs. Performing credit AIF में आप देखेंगे some of the AIFs continues to deliver gross yield and returns to the tune of 18%, 16%, 16 to 18%, I would say. So there are two different baskets. You can consider one of them. You can also think about investing in AIFs which essentially invest in real estate markets, and they in turn deliver interest of about 15 to 18%. So that's another thing that you can do. Third, we strongly recommend people to have global diversification. We've been telling our investors, advising them, and building their portfolio. I have just shown you that even if you look at last 1 year, India is down about 9%, whereas US is up by 30%. So, and some of the other markets that I've shown you performance like Brazil, Russia, Brazil is up by 46%. So if you have a global diversification, then your portfolio may outperform the overall benchmarks. So therefore, we believe that 20% of your overall allocation should be tilted towards global funds. There are investors who have as high as 25 to 30% investments outside of India, and there are investors who are biased in terms of investing 100% money in India. I would say biased, but I would say that when you're investing, you should have at least 25%, 20% exposure outside of India. REITs and InvITs, they'll give you some amount of stability in the portfolio as we move ahead. Um All right, so this is broadly a index. I mean, I don't want to tell you that you already tracking the index that it is all showing negative returns. Why it is the right time to invest? Those who are sitting on sidelines or those who have good amount of liquidity at this point of time is because what works in favor of India is one of the youngest and largest workforce, and we are driving the consumption and GDP, and as a result of that, our GDP numbers are high. Financial inclusion in the sense that drivers investments and capital expansion. पहले टाइम था जब जितने भी क्रिकेट के जो कैप्टन्स होते थे वो या तो पेप्सी बेच रहे होते थे या कोका कोला बेच रहे होते थे एड्स में. आप देखो अभी जितने भी कैप्टन्स है, महेंद्र सिंह धोनी से लेके और इवन सचिन तेंदुलकर और रोहित, ऑल ऑफ देम, रोहित शर्मा, दे आर प्रमोटिंग म्यूचुअल फंड. तो सही है. इसका मतलब ये है कि इंडिया में फिनेंशियल इंक्लूजन आ गया है. इसका मतलब ये है कि कुछ कंपनीज थ्रू SME IPOs आर एबल टू raise capital through IPOs. Otherwise, there was a time when you had no option than to go to bank and then borrow money. So this financial fraternity and the overall financialization of the savings is shaping up big time in India. Fiscal responsibility, growing financial literacy. So India has done a lot of work in terms of India, as in all of us, have put in a lot of efforts in terms of educating and empowering investor community as a whole. We have done more than 950 webinars in the last 5 years. So that clearly indicates that our commitment to educate and investors like you, healthy reforms and regulations, regulatory support on smoother investment journey. This is how HNIs are investing their money in AIFs, alternates more particularly in PMSS. This is the number which is going up in India. So mass market is about 960 to 980 billion dollar. And if you look at ultra HNIs, their number is also about 915 to 935 billion dollars. So that clearly indicates that they're only 5% of the people. And here we are talking about a mass affluent. And that number clearly indicates that how it is shaping up, it is, and how it is growing. So growth in the ultra HNI segment is about 13-14%, vis-a-vis the growth in the mass market is about 8 to 10%. Uh, so alternates are catching up. In alternates, you have private equity, you have private credit, as I said, which is shaping up very well. Um, then you can invest in long short funds because you don't have any clarity of the market. So you can park the money in long short. And there is something called absolute long short category, which will deliver about 7.5% post fees, post expenses returns. What they essentially do is to sell sectors where they are remain concerned and bearish, and buy sectors where they are bullish. So exponential opportunity here, it is personalized solution, tailor-made strategies which has been made by our team of experts. Enhanced diversification, as I said, we do 20% on outside of India. We do 20% in AIF through private credit, etc. We do PMSS, niche product, absolutely high-end products, and exclusive access that, if you're concerned about equity market, this is the time that we speak to fund manager. Our team line up your call with fund manager and make you speak so that your conviction level on Indian as an economy continues to be on higher side. So with that, would like to conclude the call here. Thank you so much for your valuable time, and I'm happy if you have any question for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vikas, sir, for your valuable insights. So I'm sure everyone has found this session extremely useful in understanding how to navigate uncertain markets more effectively. So we are open for questions. If you have any questions, please drop your question in chat box. Meanwhile, I have a question, Vikas, sir. So, what is your outlook on Indian markets despite global uncertainty?
See, Indian markets have shown a lot of resilience. आप देखो, we all we have almost $690 billion of reserves. Although during this crisis, some amount have been outflowed. But आप देखो, जब पहली बार वॉर हुआ था, तभी जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने बोला था कि आप मंडे के दिन उपवास रखिए। उस समय हमारी टोटल जनसंख्या थी 30 से 40 करोड़, 30 करोड़ लोगों की थी पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस। फिर उन्होंने नेक्स्ट वाले में आया तो सोनिया गांधी और इंदिरा गांधी के टाइम में उन्होंने बोला था कि आपके पास जो भी गोल्ड है हमारा, वो गोल्ड आप सबमिट गवर्नमेंट को दीजिए सो दैट वी कैन सेव आवर सेल्फ एज एन इकोनॉमी। उसके बाद में वॉर आया, उस समय पे कुछ लोगों ने फिनेंशियली सपोर्ट किया था। फिर 1991 को अ, मनमोहन सिंह जी ने इकॉनमी ओपन की थी। अभी ऐसी कोई सिचुएशन नहीं है, अभी हमारे पास रिजर्व्स काफी हैं। $700 billion is not a small number by any standard. Our CAD, I have just shown you, current account deficit is not widened to large extent. It is remain at 1.5% of the GDP. किसी भी emerging markets को आप grow होते हुए देखेंगे तो उसका CAD आपको 1-1.5% का देखने को मिलेगा। हमारा जो फिजिकल डेफिसिट है वो बहुत ज्यादा वाइडन नहीं हुआ है कि 7%, 8% चला गया है कि हम कभी उसे पे नहीं कर पाएंगे। इट इज कमिंग डाउन एंड नेक्स्ट 5 years द टारगेट इज टू रिड्यूस इट टू 4.5%। तो इसका मतलब बहुत ज्यादा हमारे पास में उधारी नहीं है। हमारा डेट टू जीडीपी रेशो अगर आप देखते हैं, मैंने आपको दिखाया यूएस का डेट टू
Yeah.
जीडीपी रेशो इज एज हाई एज 140%, 135%। आप बिलीव नहीं करेंगे, हमने एक स्टडी की पिछले 20 साल का, शुभम डेटा निकाला, जिस जिस कंट्री का डेट टू जीडीपी रेशो 130% के ऊपर हुआ है, उस कंट्री के बॉन्ड्स डिफॉल्ट हुए हैं, या हो सकता है 1980 में हो, 85 में हो, 90 में हो, 95 में हो, बट हमारे बॉन्ड्स कभी आज तक डिफॉल्ट नहीं हुए. सो इंडिया इज अ वेरी स्ट्रक्चर्ड इकोनॉमी. India, although our dependency on oil is very high, I'm not denying on that. But
Yes.
on the other side, our growth is also high. So when you have a growth like this, which is growing at 6%, the world is growing at 2%, you are growing three times higher than the globe. Obviously, you will have more energy requirements in your country. But despite all that, it is being well managed, I would say. And once this crisis gets over, once you have this conflict getting over, you will see that India likely to uh, come back to its growth plan and continues to grow at 6.5, 7%. So we are overconfident that our economy is very good. It is shaping up very well. And by 2031, you will see India becoming the third largest economy in the world.
Okay. Okay. So, should investors wait for a market correction or continue investing systematically, sir, at this point of time?
Very difficult to say because till the time you have Trump as a president of US, you can't be sure about what needs to be done. So there are two kind of allocations. One is structure, strategic allocation. Second is tactical allocation. I can't talk about tactical allocation, but strategically, yes, this is the time that you should be investing in Indian equity markets and don't wait for corrections. If you're not really clear about it, you can put the ST investments in STP options, which is systematic transfer plan from liquid to equity, and have a duration of about 3 months or so. So my sense is that yes, Indian markets will continue to be under pressure because rupee is depreciating, your FIIs are going out, your dollars are going out, and as a result of that, but it is a temporary phenomena, Shubham. And my sense is that
Okay.
as we move ahead, you will see that things will settle down.
So that's great. That's great. So I don't think so there are any questions, sir. So your final takeaway you would like to give to our investors on today's session.
Nothing. I would say that look, these are difficult times and very challenging times. So I think uh, ऐसा बोलते हैं कि जो इन्वेस्टर्स के पास में पेशेंस होता है वो ही लंबे समय तक इस मार्केट में टिक पाता है और रिटर्न्स क्रिएट कर पाता है. तो ये टाइम है जब आप पेशेंस रखें और चीज़ें चेंज होएंगी, थिंग्स विल चेंज एंड यू विल सी दैट योर पोर्टफोलियो विल ऑल्सो स्टार्ट delivering good results.
Yes. Yes. So as of now, there are no questions. So thank you everyone for participating and joining us today. For any queries related to AIF, PMS, alternatives, feel free to connect us at contact@allportfunds.com. So thank you so much everyone for participating. Have a great evening ahead. Thank you. Thank you everyone.